All right, let's talk about associativity. So go ahead and click on your viewport border and change your drawing scale back to 1:1. Then double click inside your viewport border to get into model space. Go to the Home tab, select Scale, and select everything. Hit Enter. Select a base point somewhere in the middle and scale it by a factor of 2. So what do you notice? Well, the things you should notice is that all the dimension values increased by a factor of 2. So that's associativity. The dimensions are associated with the geometry that they dimension. So if the geometry increases by a factor of 2, the dimensions will as well. Another thing to notice is that the dimension size itself did not get scaled. But there is one glaring exception, and that is the leader line. So the leader line is does not have associativity. So we need to undo the scaling on that and change the dimension. So what are we going to do? We're going to undo. So we're going to undo the scaling and scale everything but the leader line. So we're going to go R to remove the leader line from the selection set, and then hit Enter, base point somewhere in the middle, and 2, Enter. So now the leader line did not get scaled, but the dimension still needs to be changed. So we're going to double click on that and change it to 4 to 4, 4 by 4. There we go. And we still need to move this guy. Undo that. And we'll get there when we change the scale. All right, so we can move the dimensions around into a more appropriate location. Pan the drawing. All right, so one thing that you may have noticed is that this 10 is outside the extension lines. Now you can leave it, that's fine. I tend to like the dimensions between the extension lines, and we can use a particular command that will allow us to force it in between the extension lines, and that is called dim tick. And we're going to turn that on. And then we're going to update this guy. Oh, did it not update? Let me go to the annotation and use this guy. Update. There we go. All right, so let's try to change our scale and see what happens. So let's click outside and get into our layout space. Click on our viewport border and change our scale to 2 to 1. And that is big. Oh, let me change it back to 1 to 1. And let's go to a smaller scale. How about 1 to 2? And now we can do the same thing, right? We can go into model space, add the current scale, hit enter, and there we go. So now we can go back from 1 to 1 to 1 to 2. So you can do this for however many scales you need, but the more scales you add, the more memory is in your file. All right. So, fill in your title block, print out whatever you need to print out. But I hope learning about annotative and associative objects was interesting. So go into your set mm and set inch files and create your ASME dimension style and your ASME multi-liter style. So then you'll have it in your template file for when you start dimensioning different objects.